rank number 2 from August 2020 to August 2021, which was year 1 of the Bloodline. So this is the year basically that I ended up picking for number 2. Aaron, of course, picked year 4. But when I get to the social media polls here via Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, it was a landslide victory. There was far more people that loved year 1 over year 4, which like I said, I thought was telling, because even on X, where year 4 won, it only edged out by a little bit. So people definitely loved year 1. I'm going to actually go ahead and give it over to you, Aaron, to give us your thoughts. I know you already touched a little bit on it about year 1, but this is your chance to go ahead and expound upon it.
I mentioned Roman Reigns feuding with Jey Uso. That was definitely a hot storyline that really got the Bloodline going and got it on a high note, got people invested in what was going on. And as you went into the early part of 2021, you had the storyline with Kevin Owens, which was very good. I thought that was an entertaining storyline with Owens challenging Roman Reigns. WrestleMania was a big moment. Roman Reigns going against Daniel Bryan and Edge. Triple threat match, and Roman Reigns stacking them like that. That is an all-time great visual as far as I'm concerned. Pinning both guys at the same time, really establishing Roman Reigns as the guy in WWE. The Usos continue to build up momentum, and Roman Reigns was still, I guess the big positive besides everything I mentioned was the fact that at this time Roman Reigns was still a full-timer. That was nice to actually have him on the shows every week.
Yes.
And, it hurt a little bit when he would leave, and they would have him come back. And, it's a running joke on the internet that there's like 20 graphics for Roman Reigns returning because it happened so many times. So I will say, if anything,
Aaron, right quick. I noticed you didn't make you didn't do the collage of the graphics when they did Roman turns to SmackDown. I guess you could say it felt like it means something when he actually is gone for 4 months, right?
Right. Yeah. And then,
hey, every other week.
Right. Exactly. I will say this about year 1. It was the most consistent because of the fact that Roman Reigns was a regular. He was there pretty much every week. And we did conclude this with the return of the fans, so you can include SummerSlam and Money in the Bank for that matter, and John Cena coming back, and that was great to have Cena versus Reigns with the roles reversed. Although Cena was always a babyface, but now you had Roman Reigns as the clear heel, and and John Cena is the clear intended babyface and the intended heel. So yeah, SummerSlam was entertaining for that. And then of course Brock returns, so you can include his actual return at that point. But yeah, just the establishment of the Bloodline and getting it going, was very instrumental in, I think, people sticking with WWE during the pandemic. Very important for the company. So yeah, it definitely had its big moments for sure.
Nice. Very well said, Aaron. Yeah, I couldn't agree with you more on there. Just what a fantastic time, because year number 1, and I feel like a lot of the stuff with the Bloodline still holds up well. When I go back and watch some of that stuff, and it's probably some of the only stuff I go back and watch every now and then, is that even though there's no audience, the storytelling is so good, so compelling, the performances are so good. I don't even pay attention to the fact that it's just a bunch of digital LED boards where everybody had to use their web cameras because we couldn't be in person at the time. I don't get lost in the fact that, hey, these are manufactured noises that they're using, because I'm so invested into the story. And I'm glad to see that when the audience did come back, that translated very well. For me, year 1, I put it at number 2. Because I just think it's too iconic. Not to get any spoilers or much Dragon Ball talk, I got a big Dragon Ball podcast in the works, and our number 1 spot, even though it's not as flashy as some of the other topics we're going to talk about, that we just came to the decision that number 1 was too iconic, and that's exactly how I feel about the Bloodline storyline. Year 1 is that it's too iconic. It's set into motion to what WWE would become. This was the way that this year showed that WWE can tell more compelling storylines that have a lot more, take a lot of things that people can more relate to in real life and put it in with just how they talked a lot about families stories and everything together. Like, man, like it launched off to that, because ever since this bloodline started, man, WWE has just been getting better and better and better as the years have gone by. And look at the type of storylines we got now, and it goes beyond the bloodline. Like I mentioned, the Judgment Day was really good storytelling. Just, you have so many different elements now that really was paved the way because of what year one bloodline did. Looking at some of the matches ago here, obviously, yeah, Roman coming back it was awesome when we didn't even know, like the fact that we didn't know if he was a heel or just being a more aggressive babyface, and the fact that they wanted us to wait until the very end when we get to the what was it, the Payback pay-per-view, and Roman goes like he said, "That's not a prediction." And then they zoom into Paul Heyman. He goes like, "That," no, he goes like, "That's not a prediction, that's a spoiler." And they zoom into Paul Heyman, and he goes like, "You can believe that?" And we was like, "Oh, it's official. He's definitely a heel." I love the way that they did that. The fact that he just didn't come out like, "I'm hater now, I'm a bad guy." Like, no, they subtly build it up. That was great. Now, those Jey Uso matches, this shows you the power of the bloodline, because beforehand, and I think you mentioned this earlier, Jey Uso, you know, everybody thought of him as a tag team guy. He wasn't doing even thing much for the 2020s while Jimmy was out injured, and we're like, okay, what is this gonna do? And they put Jey Uso in the match, and holy crap, Jey Uso delivered big time in a main event. He told one of the most compelling, along with Roman Reigns, they told one of the most compelling, story driven, and I will say between Jey Uso and even going Sami Zayn, which we'll talk about in a moment here, this bloodline storyline has really opened my eyes as a fan to not put ceilings on people, because you never know. I wouldn't have imagined Jey Uso was going to make it to this point, but he did. Sami Zayn, when he was getting to being that comedy character, I didn't imagine he'd get to this point, but he did, and that's because of this storyline. And so this storyline really serves that, hey, it just takes that one good story and presenting somebody more seriously, and look what happens. But those Jey Uso matches, they still hold up to this day. And we were there in person for the third match, and I still didn't think the third match could top what these two matches did. The story, Jimmy Uso coming out and everything, like, what's going on with you? You know, we were family, we can do this together, you know, and the tears they had going, Hell in a Cell, they had the I Quit match, and Roman cried, it's like, I don't know who I've become. And then he's like, come on, man, we can do this together. He said, let's just go back to the way it was. And they do the blood oath, and Roman's like, I got you. And then puts him over into the guillotine and makes Jimmy Uso tap out, and the way Roman got up just all cool and everything, just using the way he used his cousins, like, that was fantastic. We mentioned at the beginning of the stream, this is the last time we would see Alpha and Sika just using what they created, like they are the elders of the bloodline, and they anoint Roman Reigns with the Ulafala to say he is the official tribal chief. Fantastic storytelling, ways to really bring back, show what those guys did as the Wild Samoans and their contributions, and what it meant to begin the epicness of this storyline. Man, and we had Roman Reigns versus Drew McIntyre, and I thought that was an absolute excellent match with Roman, and of course they had Jey Uso doing a lot of interference. That was fun. Then they rekindled the Kevin Owens and Roman Reigns feud. So Kevin Owens is the babyface now, Roman Reigns is the heel, and the man killed it. They killed it in the TLC match, and then 5 days later they had a steel cage match, and I was looking at that when Kevin Owens was handcuffed. He almost had Roman beat, and Roman Reigns it was Kevin Owens. He was handcuffed by Jey Uso to the steel cage, and Roman, he kind of woke up like, oh, I got the match won, and he slowly walks out step by step, and he turns over the road to Kevin Owens. He's smiling, and Kevin Owens just cussing him out and everything, and Roman just goes one foot, other foot, and I retain the Universal Championship. That was just great stuff, man. Like, it was just so fresh to see how far Roman Reigns had come now that they're letting him be himself. And this is what I was saying for years, whether it's a babyface or heel turn, I'm like, just let Roman Reigns be himself. Like you said earlier, don't make him John Cena 2.0, and that's what they did. And now it's like Roman felt like he was being himself, and it just felt so new and fresh. And then we got to the last man standing match with Kevin Owens, which was their second match at Royal Rumble. That was also a fantastic match. The ending was a little messed up. If you remember, they couldn't get the handcuffs off of Roman, and the referee was like 7, 8, 9, and then he just looks, nothing to see here. They wait another 30 seconds. Roman is finally like, "Oh, I'm sorry, KO. I'm sorry." Roman got to his feet. Roman got to his feet. Like that was an unfortunate part and funny part of the match. Like it's crazy how if they would have just called that as a shoot, man, that changes the whole trajectory of this entire story before it even gets going, man. So that was interesting. Daniel Bryan fought Roman Reigns in another really great match during this time, and like you said, that triple threat match of night 2, I thought that was the match that stole the show of night 2 of WrestleMania 37, stacking them and pinning them. I always wonder what would that be like in a triple threat match to show someone's dominance. Like he just pins both of them. That was great stuff. We even got Cesaro helping elevate him in the match in terms of at least showing what he can do in the main event, but they didn't elevate him beyond for a push at that. And we of course got Daniel Bryan's last match with Roman Reigns for the Universal Championship. Just going down the list, my gosh, Roman Reigns at one point was defending his title almost every couple of weeks at this point.
Right.
Like, and I think that's what I loved about it so much is that I said that's the difference between Brock Lesnar, who was gone for months and came back. Roman is up here defending sometimes twice a month and everything. So that was really good to see. They had the Rey Mysterio Hell in a Cell match on SmackDown. They did that thing where he powered bombed Dominic Mysterio.
Oh yeah,
off the ropes. Man, it's crazy to go back and look at Dominic Mysterio during this early part of his career to just where he's come in a couple of years. Like, man, they were firing all cylinders. It was just fun. And then we did get the audience back for Money in the Bank, him and Edge. It was at this point that the Usos they beat the Mysterios with the championships, and then Roman, he beat Edge, and then you get John Cena coming back, and so now it's John Cena versus Roman Reigns. And I was so hyped for this because we all remember when Roman Reigns, was forgetting his lines, and John Cena said, "It's called a promo, kid. You got to learn how to do it if you want to be the big dog." And we're like,
right.
Oh man, I want to see how well is Roman Reigns going to fare when John Cena comes out. And Roman Reigns did not disappoint. So much cooler, so much smoother on the mic. He has the great line. Everybody's wanting him. He grabs the microphone and he goes like, "So John Cena came out here doing the same thing over and over. It's like missionary position." And the whole crowd erupts in a cheer. He says, "Well, the tribal chief don't get down like that." And man, he won the audience over and they gave him a standing ovation. And I thought, honestly, he smoked Cena. I thought that whole time because Cena was doing the same old, and Roman was like, "You up here doing the same old all over every week. The same thing you've been doing the last 20 years." Like, man, but when you got to the match, Roman Reigns, it was more or less their first match. John Cena doing a lot of selling for majority of it, and then he makes the comeback towards the end and Roman beats him. But what was so cool was just see Roman's development, because in this one, Roman, he had mastered the trash talk, just trash talking, tell him like, "We're gonna get you back to Hollywood" and stuff. And when he would grab somebody to face and put him in the camera, "You understand, this is my ring now," and everything. Like, man, it was fantastic. And of course it ends with Brock Lesnar coming out, and we're like, holy crap. And this was at a big time because AEW got a lot of buzz. CM Punk, Adam Cole, Bryan Danielson, and then they're like, "Okay, we're bringing in Brock Lesnar," and it's like Roman and Brock face to face. But this time we know whose side is Paul Heyman going to be on. Man, just looking at it, I love this year, man. It is too iconic. Like it changed the trajectory of WWE. And as years go by and WWE keeps on this hot streak of storytelling, year one, man, just fantastic. And the fact that it happened with most of the crowd gone, all the audience gone, and I still remember all this good stuff, man. It was just fantastic year. So that's definitely. We're gonna move on to our final ranking. Did you have anything else you wanted to add, Aaron?
I think we summed it up pretty nicely. Definitely the most consistent. I feel like year 4 had more ups and downs, but year 1, it remained pretty strong from start to finish.
Right, and that's why I had to put it. But now, man, shoot, we can just fanboy mark out or whatever, because we get to what I have to say is the holy grail of the Bloodline story. Coming in at